Hello, Internet, and welcome to my review for Tokyo Ghoul Re episode 17. Sorry this video is so late. College and papers and shit's going wild over here, but I have some time to review this episode, so we're gonna do that. Yeah. When we last left off, we had an episode to check in on the ghoul side of thing. Kaneki founded a new organization titled GOAT. And we pretty much got the best episode the series has given us. We had all the cute stuff with Akira and Amon, the Akira and Hinami reconciliation, some good shit out of Ghoul last week. And this episode does not really measure up to last week's, but it tries in its own way, while also giving it has some bits that really like try to capture what makes Ghoul so great, especially in like the beginning of the episode. And then it has the clowns, which we'll get into. So yeah, we open up with what last episode was for the ghouls. This episode, in large part, tries to be with the CCG. And I kind of noticed that with some of the cuts the anime did. In the manga, as I recall, correct me if I'm doing this wrong, if I'm remembering things wrong, but Akira does not wake up until after the clown raid, the clown siege, and during the clown siege, Kaneki, Nishiki, and Corona have to like sneak into a CCG lab to like get shit from the CCG, or like medicine for Akira. And we get that the super hot Kaneki in the white suit outfit, which, ooh boy, I'm mad we don't get that. But this episode streamlines it to just focus entirely on the CCG, like last week focused entirely on GOAT. And it's nice to see what they're up to. We see that Furuta very quickly rises to power in all this. You know, he did like, there's a line that he probably forged in, I think it's Tsunayoshi's will, or Yoshitoki, one of the Washus that he killed. That's like, yeah, Furuta is my heir. He is now the leader of the CCG. And that's all it takes for the CCG just become like putty in Furuta's hands. And we also get to see a lot of the moral complexity that Ghoul does so well, as especially in the case of Psycho. Psycho and in Suzuya's case both have to deal with the fact that like they're now going to be killing Sasaki, or trying to kill Sasaki, who was, you know, either a close friend or like a mother to each of them. And that's great. The kind of, you know, Ghoul really does thrive in this kind of, you know, ambiguously moral area, you know, where everyone has to deal with what the world throws at them in their own way. That's something Ghoul is really good at. It's great, and the time we spend there is great. Though we do start to see the beginning of some of Ghoul's worst plot lines, particularly Mutsuki and Shinsanpei, who is the long-haired guy we see by Kyoko Ora's bedside in this episode. We'll get to all over them later on. Sorry, getting hiccups now. Fun. Alright. So yeah, the Mutsuki backstory. After this episode, I am very certain we are never going to get the full Mutsuki backstory. But we do really have enough to really, like, carry Mutsuki's role and the rest of the plot through. You know, we know Mutsuki is in love with Sasaki. Mutsuki has a tendency towards violence, as we see when he, like, brutally murders Torso. And in case you have not figured it out from the hints throughout the first season of Re, Mutsuki is a trans man. All of these will come up again later on. The trans man stuff, especially in discussions of how Ishida treats queer characters, which is a whole debate that this episode's not really getting into. It's not going to talk about it. If Nico comes back, it'll come up, though. But the anime as a whole has done better by that. So it might actually turn out not as awful. But that CCG stuff does play into... So moving back to the CCG stuff in general, and not just Mutsuki, it does play into this theme of like the inevitability of death in war, as we see Ui walks by and he flashes back on, you know, Arima being dead and Hairu being dead and Take betraying him for the ghouls, and he's all very like, he's not blasé about it, but he's like, he's accepted, like, yeah, people die and then people betray you, and it's just, that's life in war. And he's just empty, you know? And I feel like that's kind of the point, that this endless bloodshed just, there is no winner in war, as common a theme as that is a very prominent theme in Ghoul. But meanwhile, the clowns are wreaking havoc on things, and Furuta sets up the CCG plan as being, having everybody, leave HQ undefended except for Arima, which then leads it to the declaration, I guess, that Suzuya is like the new Arima. And this was never really set up. Like, I love Suzuya, and once he becomes this new Arima, you know, he's believably badass, but like, before this point, he's not like, Arima was so big and powerful and like influential and like such an image in Ghoul-kind's minds that like the idea of killing Arima is all Kaneki needs to have power in the Ghoul world. And there's not that sense that Suzuya is in any way the same thing as Arima, you know? Like, sure, he started at a similarly young age as Arima did, and he's a pretty good investigator, but besides that, they're two very different people. So the you know, Suzuya will become our Arima thing is kind of weird. It never really quite feels right. You know, Suzuya eventually becoming like the lead investigator of the CCG. Alright, I think that, you know, there are plenty of people who are more experienced and as a result are probably better investigators than Suzuya, like Ui or Mogon, or people who have been around longer. Particularly Ui. Mogon's kind of old, I'll admit. You know, but I don't know, that's been a thing that's been hanging on my mind since I read it in the manga. But then we get to the crux of the episode, the Clown Siege. So yeah, as we open up, there's this important moment. There are like all of the like fights of the Clown Siege, interspersed with Furuta like playing chess with himself, which is a fairly on the nose, but also a very effective symbolism of, you know, Furuta is playing both sides of this war. He is both the clowns and the CCG. Yeah. And so as the fight goes on, we find out that the clown suicide bombers, who our heroes are fighting against, are heroes as much as anyone in Ghoul is a hero, because again, the whole point is that there are no heroes and that everyone's a monster in war and that war sucks. Or that everyone is a hero, I guess. Again, morality in Ghoul is really weird, and I should not have said heroes. So yeah. The whole, like, we're fighting humans thing, I feel like if it wasn't in the manga, if it wasn't like this in the manga, it should have been this, like, at least for the audience, if not for Suzuya, this, like, horrific reveal. Oh shit, they've been killing humans. But it just kind of isn't. You know, it's just kind of, like, brushed aside. Like, oh, they're humans. Alright, now we need to deal with the fact that they are humans. We need to, like, not kill living humans, and no one pauses and, like, wait a sec, we killed a bunch of people. Humans, not even ghouls. So, it just seems kind of weird there. You know, I get Suzuya not being like that because he's, you know, not all there, especially with Shinohara in a coma. But the rest of them, especially when the other human teams find out that, like, they've been fighting humans, there should have been a bigger reaction besides Ui's like, oh, the press is gonna kill us for this. Like, what? Also, Ui, you just killed a bunch of people. The press is gonna kill you, sure, but you just killed a bunch of people. And then the only other thing left in this Clown Siege is the Donato and Urie stuff. which doesn't really land as well as it should. Like, sure, the eventual the kind of, like, skeleton outline of it, um, Urie is in this state because of his relationship with his father, but he's saved not by eventually surpassing his father, but by focusing on his friends in Psycho instead of this distant paternal figure. And that's all very typical Tokyo Ghoulian. But for whatever reason, it just doesn't land as well as it should. So Donato goes on this whole bit where he's like, you joined because of your father, and Urie's like, no, I joined because of me. And that's Donato's point is so inherently obvious. Just look all through last season how much he hated the Kuroiwa family because of, Kuroiwa being there when his father died. The idea that Urie was denying that he joined the CCG because of his father is... The fact that he's denying that is so ridiculous. Also, when he eventually frames out, his ramblings are all really based on, his previously expressed desire for strength, and not this kind of father issue, that Donato had just brought up. And given that Donato is the one who causes him to frame out, it makes more sense that it would be the daddy issues that Donato has brought out of the table. But besides that, the Psycho being the one to save him is all great and sweet and all. But right with that, the Clown Siege ends. And it leaves the whole thing seeming just kind of a pointless little blip on the radar, It doesn't really add all that much to the story. Really, what did we get out of this? Maybe the CCG will face some public relations issues after this, but I don't remember that happening in the manga. And they seem way too... At the final press conference, when, first is like, let's go exterminate every ghoul. Everyone's super like, yeah, fuck yeah, instead of like, we killed people. So the Clown Siege as a whole feels kind of pointless in a way I don't think it really did in the manga. Maybe because the manga paired it with the Save Akira plotline. But the whole thing just felt like nothing really... Like, sure, we've set up Urie hunting Donato. I think that'll come back again. Maybe. I don't remember in the end how much influence Urie has on Donato's final fate. I'm saying that like as little spoilers as possible. But but after that, we finally get it. Our thumbnail, the party mask of glory. We all love not Donato, Fuduta's stupid fucking mask. And it wasn't as funny as it was in the manga. The manga, I think, maybe because I was expecting it in the manga, and I mean in the anime, because I read the manga. Maybe something about the manga just made it more startling. I don't know, but it was like a chuckle, but it wasn't like the what the fuck is he wearing from the manga. Though again, I knew what he was wearing, so that might be why. It might just be I've seen it already, and jokes are less funny the more you repeat them. And now we are introduced to the O-Guy, the successor to the Quink Squad, and they kill a bunch of clowns, and that's about it. The O-Guy will be very important going forward for a little while, probably another 3 episodes, because this is Season 4, and Season 4 is rushed to all hell. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. So, all in all, this episode was very much a mixed bag. We got all that good shit in the first 5 minutes of the episode as the CCG kind of takes stock of where they are, and is Furuta very quickly gains control of the CCG just kind of by existing. It all kind of falls into place for him. That's all well and good. But the Clown Siege is too nothing. There's not really any of the good media shit that Ghoul gets into in its best moments in the Clown Siege. Again, there's maybe a little bit with Urie and Psycho, But besides that, it's kind of there to like fill time, and this is not a season that needs to fill time. Um, so yeah, maybe we'll see the effects be more important later on, but until then, this is kind of a meh episode for me. But next time, we will be back with Goat, as Goat and the Ogai will start to collide in a couple of dramatic confrontations, including, it looks like next week we're getting to that chapter, manga fans, 125. Y'all know what I mean. But yeah, until then, I'm gonna leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the episode and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!